श्रीनाथादिगुरुत्रयं गणपतिं पीठत्रयं भैरवं सिद्धौघं वटुकत्रयं पदयुगं धूतीक्रमं मण्डलं वीरान्ध्यष्टचतुष्कषष्टिनवकं वीरावळी पञ्चकं श्रीमन्मालनिमन्त्रराजसहितं वन्दे गुरोर्मण्डलं वन्दे गुरोर्मण्डलं वन्दे गुरोर्मण्डलम्. Welcome all of you for this another session on understanding the Srividya theories. So in the last class, as of now, we have spoken about the descent of creation from Shiva and Shakti down to the gross elements. So we must understand something very important, students. Sri Vidya sadhana is not about going somewhere new. It's the reverse movement of this descent. Creation was the moment from the unity to multiplicity, as we have been looking into the theories. Sadhana, this is something very important I'm telling you all. Sadhana is the movement from the multiplicity back to the unity, actually. Sadhana is the movement from multiplicity back to unity. That is, the descent represents forgetting. Sadhana represents remembering and dissolving the limitations. When consciousness descended, it passed through Mayas, the Kanchukas, the Gunas, the Chittas, and the sense elements. Now, the sadhaka walks the same tattvas but in an upward manner, actually. That is, the ascent happens through the sadhana. The descent has happened through the creation, and the ascent is happening through the sadhana. That is, purification of the chitta, clearing of the samskaras and habitual distortions, expansion of awareness, that is, seeing beyond limited identity, dissolving the kanchukas, that is time, space, limited knowledge, limited power, and limited desire, and stabilization in pure aham, that is the uncontracted I feeling. Correct? This is what we have understood as of now. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, what is very important is the this process, as I keep saying to all of you, this process does not reject the world actually. Sri Vidya never teaches us to escape actually. We are not escaping. It is transforming the perceptions. It is transforming the perception. The world remains. The world remains. But the way we see it changes. But the way we see it changes. No matter whether we are going to remain or not, the world is going to remain. Yes or no? But we don't act like that. That is something else. But till the time we are here, let us see the world with a different lens altogether. I do not know how many of you have gone through eye testing actually. Like I can see a few of you wearing specs like Viresh G, Gayatri, Swastika, and Saraswati. They keep lenses, for checking, various lenses they will keep and they will keep asking you, can you see, can you see, can you? I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm keeping various lenses, and asking you, can you see what I'm telling you? It's very simple like that. So moving forward, this culmination is non-difference of the worshipper and worship. This is something very essential in Sri Vidya and Tantra Shastra students. The entire training that we undergo in the Gurukula is to understand that I am not different from the worshipper actually. You don't worship Lalita, Tripura Sundari, or Chandika Mahalakshmi with your limited identity of what you are. You go through that in a very systematic manner to understand these theories, you understand the practices, you get the initiation, the diksha, and you understand that this aham and idam is not existing in the ritual logic actually. which is very important. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? Jyoti Garalapati will not do the puja. Tripura Sundari will do the puja for Tripura Sundari herself, actually. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? Might appear like Gayatri Shamsundar is doing the Ganapati puja, but Gayatri Shamsundar is not doing the Ganapati puja. You understand what I'm trying to say? Though you might not understand this, or you might not able to accept it, but this is the training that is required. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? That transformation in consciousness, the shift in the consciousness, or the not the transformation, the shift is the right word. Do you remember the Dashamahavidya lectures? Like we were talking about the shift, how we shift actually. Students ask me this actually. How do it's very difficult to be, that is what I've heard. Like those who have not seen me, I don't know. Like those who are many of them, those who have seen me, they say that how do you quickly change yourself? Moment to moment, you are not the same person actually. You quickly shift from one person being the other actually. I think that is a training that has come in with the practices actually. Are you able to understand? Sometimes, I think I am the worst person, the worst behavior I will give you if I'm dealing like Sai Srinivas, the way I would cry, the way I would lament, the way I would, you understand what I'm trying to say. Like the way, I mean, when I'm human, I feel I'm the worst human actually. And I never wanted to be that human actually. Trust me. You know, the moment I become that, that upasaka, that sadhaka, I am very, very different. The way I talk, the way I behave, the way I walk, the way I sit. You understand? It is not just the physical thing, it is the entire being that shifts actually. And to be in that state, we are constantly doing this actually, or rather to be in that state and to reach that state, and to reach that world which constantly keeps us in this state actually, because in this world it is practically perhaps not possible actually to be in that state always, maybe because of all the other worldly affairs we lead our life in actually. Are able to follow what I'm trying to say? So this, the shifting is what is very systematically made us to understand that the divine, the divine being, that you are divine actually, and this entire Mahavidyalaya, the course is wanted to make you like, it is just trying to wake you up, it's trying to wake you up to make you understand, hey, you are the divine actually, you are not that Rajeshwari Ganesh, you are not that Madhuri, you are not that Pravina, you are the Tripura Sundari. You have to understand that, it's just like waking up call actually. All these knowledge is already stored in the consciousness. It is just like you need to be awake so that you remember this knowledge actually. So the worshipper, the worshipped, and the act of worship, that is the subject on the object, dissolve, not because they are destroyed, but because their essential unity is recognized actually in the ritual logic, or what we call a larger sensibility as sadhana. That is, the duality does not disappear externally. Please understand this. It dissolves internally through the wisdom, actually. Through whatever you are doing through this process, through this process, it dissolves actually. This state of what we are talking is called as the Shuddha Tattvam. That is the pure path, actually. The pure path. The pure path of non dual insight. It is not suppression of the world. Please understand again and again. It is not the suppression of the world. It is the clarity of vision. It is the clarity of vision. And to sum up this Shuddha Marga and Ashuddha Marga, which we have been talking for the last 2 days, perhaps, like, as I told you, this is not about the morality actually. It doesn't even mean the good versus bad. It refers to what four things, students: the strategy of practice, the mode of engagement with limitation, the mode of engagement with limitation. Number three, the level of purification. And number four, the speed and orientation of the path. The speed and the orientation of the path. So therefore, Shuddha Marga emphasize an internal sattvic ascent direct inward movement, whereas the Ashuddha Marga employs embodiment, desire, emotion, even obstacles as transformative means. Both ultimately serve the same goal. Many sincere sadhakas walk both at different stages of their journey. Their aim is no contradiction. And ultimately, all the paths are identical because it is to remember, to return, and ultimately to rest, as I told you. Remember, 3R, triple R, we can remember. Remember, return, and rest. You understand? I'm talking about rest means I'm talking about the eternal rest we will take quitting this body, and also after a fine stage of all these practices, when we don't have the strength in the body to practice, and the body needs rest, you know then the sum total of whatever we practiced, whatever we learned, should give us that calmness to rest. Actually, peacefully, the physical body should be able to rest. Are you able to follow what I'm trying to say? Very essential. And this is the foundation of any Indian philosophy, because we are we are so distinctive from the West in this particular thing. We don't live for today, we always live for tomorrow. Yes or no? Everything is for tomorrow, actually. Everything. So this actually, that tomorrow is actually that ultimate tomorrow that we are actually talking about. It is not the tomorrow of tomorrow. You understand what I'm trying to say, right? We are training ourselves for the tomorrow is actually this particular aspect of the rest I'm talking about, which is very essential for all of us to understand. So liberation is not something becoming new, therefore. You understand? We are preparing and tasting the liberation in a very systematic manner, actually. In the preparation process, in the process of preparing, or the preparatory process, we are able to, understand, accept, go through the process of liberation. It is not an accidental process, or it is not something that you are getting that liberation after quitting the body, actually, as far as Srividya is concerned. It is recognizing what has always been true. That's it, actually. Clear to all of you. So, to conclude this entire the ascent and the descent that we have been understanding, the the only impurity that truly matters, you know what? One thing. One guess that word. What is that one thing that is very important? I'm opening the chat box for all of you. Come on. There's nothing right or wrong. The one impurity, liberation is not impurity. The only impurity that truly matters, what? Absolutely brilliant, Rajeshwari Ganesh. Ignorance is the answer. Ignorance, absolutely. Most of you have understood, and the answer is coming in the right sense. Yes, I is the ignorance there, actually. Very specifically, the ignorance. And the ignorance is, the foundation of the ignorance is aham, actually. Very good. I'm happy that you are all able to understand. The learning outcomes are very clear in the class. So, this ignorance, which is a true part of our nature, is the biggest impurity which we need to fight. Purity is not moral rigidity, but purity is the clarity for perception, actually. When perception becomes clear, bondage dissolves naturally. When the perception becomes clear, bondage dissolves naturally. This is something very important. So, from here, you know, when we have spoken about the ascent and the descent, the, the thing that connects between this ascent and descent in sadhana is one important thing, students. What is it? The prana shakti, the prana. Okay, now let me talk about that in detail for all of you. Prana, if I have to simply define prana, prana is the energy of consciousness. Prana is the energy of consciousness. See, if what is the fundamental identity of somebody alive actually? That they are breathing, correct? Breathing is the fundamental understanding, the tangible understanding of somebody's alive. But is breathing the only criteria to say somebody's alive, you tell me? The tree next to my our Petam is almost 100 years old actually. It is also alive only. You understand what I'm trying to say? The bird is alive. The cat is alive. The dog is alive. The monkey is alive. It's breathing, therefore it is alive. But that that aliveness that we are talking, aliveness is equal to breathing, is a very limited idea actually. Is a very limited idea. Okay. Aliveness, breathing is equal to consciousness. True. Aliveness, breathing is equal to consciousness. But aliveness plus breathing within brackets, prana shakti is equal to consciousness. How powerful the statement is becoming, or the equation is becoming? Yes or no? The same breathing, if we say it as prana shakti, it is very, very powerful actually. And as sadhakas, we are all trying not just to breathe, but we are converting that breath into Shakti or awareness. And this consciousness, when I speak of consciousness, Pranan is equal to consciousness. Immediately, that consciousness is understood into two ways actually, the Shiva and the Shakti principle. That is Shiva, changeless, timeless, and static; Shakti, dynamic, expressive, and creative. Okay, and Shiva and Shakti is within the Shakta traditional understanding. They combine to become what is called as the Mahashakti or the Parashakti. That is the primordial creative power. The primordial creative power, according to Shakta vision, the Shakta pedagogy, it is Parashakti, the primordial creative power. Prana Shakti is the fraction of that Mahashakti. Prana Shakti is the fraction of that Mahashakti, animates everything into manifestations. Animates everything into manifestations. Okay. So, without Prana Shakti, there is no life, no tattvas, no buddhi, no ahankaras, no manas, no perception, no breath, no body. Okay? The pranan is the foundation. So, pranan is not just breathing, please understand. Pranan is above the idea of breathing, because breathing itself is a part of that pranan. With that pranan only we are even able to breathe actually. As upasakas, we are trying to understand that pranan and invoke that pranan actually. Are able to follow what I'm trying to say? See, we perform something called as Srichakra Prana Pratishta Vaibhavam. Yes or no? So, where did we infuse the Prana Shakti inside the Srichakra? Who infused it? You tell me. Who infused? Answer. Chat box. Give me some answer. Devi herself, but where was Devi actually? Through us, correct. That is the right answer, Sri Lakshmi Kalaka. We only invoke that Prana Shakti, na? We, as we all, including me and we all as Mahavidyalaya, we invoke the Prana Shakti into that Mahameru, actually. So for that reason, are we superior to that Meru? Because we only infuse that energy, na? Answer. Keep going, keep giving the answers. It's not belief, it's not a simple belief. Same equal. But do we have that idea that we are equal? We don't even have that. Nothing is superior or inferior. Oh my God, what a philosophy. That's nice. No, it's the same with her grace. We just transfer the consciousness from form to everyone. Okay. Mantra Shakti by sadhaka. Okay. So some good answers are coming. Like you said, it is Devi herself within us infusing the Pranan. Mantra Shakti by the sadhaka. So good answers. So we are Devi. Another dimension. Okay. We are practicing to reach there. Okay. Good answers. Good answers. Correct. So technically, this prana shakti we have invoked as sadhakas, as upasakas, that has been invoked, that is been recognized, and that is being sharpened with what is called as the mantra shakti. Okay. And mantra shakti plus jiva shakti is equal to the prana shakti. In that form, that is Meru. Otherwise, it is just five elements. It's made up of the Panchadhatu. The Mahameru is made of Panchadhatu, which is non-living actually. That non-living entity was infused with the powers, with the powers of what? Mantra Shakti piercing the Jiva Shakti actually. Therefore, the Meru is also attained that Jiva Shakti. Quantitatively and qualitatively is the only difference actually. Qualitatively, we are the same, as you have all mentioned, the Meru and we are the same, but the quantity wise actually, it is superior because we consider Devi, the parakashta tattvam is there actually, the qualitative versus the quantitative difference actually. Because we are limited because we are in this body actually, the Meru is in another dimension, as somebody used that word, the dimension actually. It's not limited, though it is made up of the five elements, but it is beyond those elements because of the ritual logics we have put within that for the 2 days actually, and all the kriyas that were done actually. So it is beyond that, it doesn't carry the same body like ours. Yes or no? This body is subjected to decay, but the Meru's body is not subject to decay like our body. You understand, yes or no, what I'm trying to say? That's the reason that other dimension, that word is very important. So therefore, Pranan is not just breath. Pranan is the animating current of manifestation. This is what I wanted you all to understand through this example that we have been talking. Pranan is the animating current of manifestation. Animating current of manifestation. Okay, so once again, quickly, if I have to revise, earlier we traced the descent, that is Shiva and Shakti, Icha, Jnana and Kriya, Mayas and Kanchukas, Gunas and Chittas, Tanmatras, gross elements. Now the understanding is growing much more subtle, students, because we are scaffolding the idea. So the entire descent becomes functional only if Pranan is possible or Pranan is available. So without Pranan, gunas would not move, chitta would not process, senses would not perceive, elements would not organize, body would not live. That is, let me tell you once again, gunas would not move, chitta would not process, senses would not perceive, elements would not recognize, elements would not organize themselves, and therefore body would not live. Therefore, pranan is the kinesthetic expression. Pranan is the kinesthetic expression of Shakti within the manifestation. Prana is the kinesthetic expression of Shakti within the manifestation. It is the bridge between pure consciousness and the material embodiment. Pranan is the bridge between the pure consciousness and material embodiment. So therefore, if I have to go to the next level, the pranan and the three gunas, if I have to talk on that three gunas, rajas is dynamism, as I mentioned to you. Tamas and sattva are static principles. The movement arises when rajas acts upon sattva and tamas. What is the movement? Movement is pranan in operation. Where is the motion? Mental, physical, metabolic. There is pranan is there. Thus, what happens? Gunas determine the quality. The pranan determines the movement. Gunas, they determine the quality, and the pranan determines the movement. The same pranan, if we have to look from the vata, pitta, kapha, the Pancha Mahabhutas combine what is called as the Vata, Pitta and Kapha, which is the constituent which is present in the body. Okay. Vata means what? Movement, that is space and air. Space and air. Pitta is transformation, fire and water. Okay. Fire and water. First one, Vata, was movement, space and air. Pittam is transformation, that is fire and water. Kapam is the structure, water and earth. So all the five elements are here. Vata is the king of dosha. Vata is the king of the dosha because it governs the movement. And Vata expresses itself as the five prana vayus. And it expresses as the five prana vayus. Therefore, Pranan becomes Vata. Vata governs the physiological and psychological functioning. Physiological and psychological functioning. And everything from planetary motion to new neural pathways is prana functioning through Vata. Prana functioning through Vata. And our Mahayajna Chandi Homam Navadurga Maha Homam is happening in Vaidyagramam. The Ayurvedic center is very, very appropriate, and we are going to use the Ayurvedic Mulikas, or 108 varieties of different kinds of Ayurvedic medicines we will be using in our Mahachandi Homam actually, and the Abhisheka. And that same water, the sanctified water, will be done what is called as the Avabrita Mahayajna Snanam. That is a ritual bathing will be given to each Upasaka who will be attending actually. So along with the infusion of the mantras, the divine elements, what is happening? This Vata, Pitta, Kapam, the dosham, which is not allowing us to recognize our eternality of what we are, is strongly nullified. And let me tell you that entire atmosphere of Vaidyagramam is filled with the herbs actually. It's herbs, roots, and various other plantations. It's a very traditional and ethnic place. The entire place in itself brings that healing actually, because it's a healing community. And there we are going to the next level of performing this Mahachandi Yajna with so much of Parayanam, Japam, the aspects of puja is what we call the ritual logics we are presenting. This is going to be an amazing transformation for all of you, those who have registered and those who are looking forward to come, because it is not just a simple puja that we are going to perform. You understand? It's not a it's not even a mahayagna. It's the transformation that tantra is talking about. The shift in the consciousness. That is what the theory is talking about. We are trying to put it into practice into the best possible ways and means actually. So therefore, in Vaidyagrama, our graduation ceremony or the Mahajandi Yajna is going to, govern everything from planetary motion to the neural pathways in Pranan functioning through Vata. There's a very high sensibilities involved in the reasons why we are doing these ritual logics, not just for ourselves, though we are the instruments, that is, we all the students and the faculty members, and we all are we are all the instruments, but we are doing it for loka kshemam actually. The world welfare is something very important, and we are working towards that actually. So therefore, to coming back, the five prana vayus and the inner journey in the Srividya theories are, they are not a separate energy, but they are functional expressions of that one prana, functional expressions. What are they? The first one is the prana vayu, that is the intake. The prana vayu is the intake, the breath, perception, awareness, and turning inward, prana vayu. The second one is the apana vayu. The apana vayu. Apana vayu is about elimination. Elimination of what? The physical and the psychological release. The physical and the psychological release. Samana vayu. The third one is samana vayu, is about digestion. Nirmala amma puriyarda class ke puriyarda ellame. Okay, done. Great. Samana vayu is all about digestion, that is food and experience. Vyana vayu, the next one is Vyana vayu, that is circulation and integration. Circulation and integration. And the fifth one is Udana vayu. Udana vayu. Upward movement, speech, memory, and will. It's an upward movement with speech, memory, and will. So we simply do pranaya swaha, apanaya swaha, vyanaya swaha. It's not a simple swaha. That swaha kara is not that naivedyam that we are doing to the deity actually. Now you understand why we are doing it actually. The deity is making us to do not for the deity, but for us, who is actually the real deity actually. So, this is connecting to sadhana, how samana is our ability to digest experience without forming new samskaras. Samana is our ability to digest experiences without forming new samskaras. This is the most intelligent thing. Yes or no? Because if you form a new samskara, it's a karma. Karma again getting into cycle. Got it, na? See how intelligent the Srividya theories are and our practices are actually. The next one, if samana is weak, impressions accumulate actually. If samanas are weak, impressions will accumulate. If apana is weak, what is going to happen? Nothing gets eliminated. Nothing gets eliminated. If Vyana is weak, what happens? Integration fails. All the integration that is supposed to happen, that fails. If Udana is weak, what will happen? Ascent does not occur. The ascent does not occur. Thus, spiritual growth is pranic refinement. Therefore, spiritual growth is pranic refinement. So, in simple words, pranayama is a very important part in any kind of spiritual practices actually. Okay, pranayama is a very important part in any spiritual practices. In Tantra, we have something called as the mantratmika pranayama. Mantratmika pranayama. And I would be initiating our students during the graduation ceremony in the mantratmika pranayama process. The mantratmika pranayama process would be taught to them, and systematically there will be a 60-day schedule in which I will constantly monitor them, and they will be knowing to practice and look into the transformations. So the mantratmika pranayama is coming up to those who are coming, will be going taking to the next levels. This is going to the next level in terms of the ritual logics to understand the body and the rituals that we will be practicing. So therefore, this pranan is very important. And with pranan, the components, the prana, the pranan, the apanan, the samanan, the udanan, the vyanan, and the udanan. So how to bring them together, through the process of mantra, through the process of breath, and making it as shakti is something very important. So now connecting prana and chitta. You remember the chitta, the concept of chitta we spoke? Yes or no? Sandhya Saptasagar. Forgotten or what? Remember, no? So, Chitta contains Smriti and Samskaras. Yes or no? Chitta contains Smriti and Samskaras. So, these creates what? Habits and automatic reactions. Correct? Habits and automatic reactions. Now, to connect, ignorance is scattering of prana in the koshas. You remember all the koshas, the pancha koshas which we read. So what is happening, our prana shakti is actually getting scattered in all those koshas, it seems, including the Sharira, the Annamaya Kosha, actually, it is not able to reach to the levels of our soul, actually. What I'm trying to say, you are able to understand, it is just stuck in the five consciousness. So, therefore, what is happening when pranan is scattered, that's the reason our mind is restless, number one. Reactions are very compulsive in nature. We have very compulsive reactions, and our discernment, you know, to the distinguishing factor between what is correct, what is not correct. If I do this, what is going to happen? If I do that, what is going to happen? The intuitive powers that are required to involve in certain things, they are all completely reduced in us actually. But when the pranan is actually streamlined, what happens? Chittam becomes clear, buddhi sharpens, and awareness gets stabilized actually. Awareness is completely stabilized. Therefore, what we speak is also secondary. What we think, and what we think, if we want to put it into action, and that action medium is through talking, everything is very, very nullified actually, or everything sets within the process. These are the reasons actually why Srividya is very popular in market. But unfortunately, this is not the training that is given actually. You understand what I'm trying to say? You do some mantra japam, whatever you think it will happen, whatever you speak, it will happen. Are Baba, it will not happen like that actually. You need the required understanding also. See, I'm giving you 1000 wala pataka. But I should hand over you agarbatti and matchbox also, na? Then only you will be able to do something with that 1000 wala. Yes or no? Simply having a 1000 wala pataka, you are not going to enjoy that 1000 wala pataka, or you will be not able to know how to put it into the work it needs to be done. Simply having the 1000 wala is not important. Like, so you need the matchbox and the incense stick also, so that you know how to, the incense stick is also very important. Let me tell you, if you directly go and light it up, it is very dangerous actually. It will blast all of a sudden. It has to slowly start. There is a process. You need to take out the wick first, and then you have to light up the agarbatti, and then go and keep it in one direction, and then you know how to run away from there. All these processes are also involved actually. So that is what needs to be learned and understood. So now to connect this further, the Pranan and the Koshas, the Vedantic versus the Tantric model, and the Pranan and Malas, and Pranan and the Shuddha and Ashuddha Marga, and the Pranan and the reverse movement of sadhana. I will take it up tomorrow. And once I complete tomorrow this, we would have reached one particular level of theory. This is just one aspect of the theory. And from there, talking constantly about theory is also very drying. I know that actually. So what we will do is that we will stop there tomorrow, and we will get into the interesting aspects of other dimensions of Sri Vidya, which most of you know, like for example, the four different the acharas that are there. What are the implications of the various acharyas, the Dakshinachara, the Samayachara, the Kaulachara, the Mishrachara, the Vamachara, the Shaivachara, the Vaishnavachara. There are various acharas are there within the Srividya traditions. What are their implications and everything. We will get into that aspect of understanding the theories. And trust me, you keep going with this knowledge, because after a while I'll be speaking about the esoteric secrets or the rahasyas of the yantras, which you would have not heard about from anywhere, because I can't directly talk on those things, because unless and until I will not talk on the foundations, I do not know whether my audience or students know these things. So I'm slowly building up the theories, and we will get into the nuances. Actually, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So keep understanding, keep listening, keep gathering your notes. I hope you're all reading the notes that we are publishing in the Google Drive. Actually, you're downloading and keeping it and referring to them. I would be expecting a very wonderful assignment from all of you, because that will make me to understand how you are able to progress this ideas and understanding. So keep learning. Every day the classes are happening almost. Keep learning, keep trying. Pray to Devi every day, asking her you to assimilate this knowledge, and you should continue to walk on this path, and learn all these things in a systematic manner. And also we are getting opportunity by her grace to practice all these things, which is also very important. We are finally balancing between the theories and practices and bringing all the edges together. So let's keep connecting into this Devi Mandalam again and again. Thank you so much. Let me finish the class with Mangalam. Sarvamangala Shive Sarvarthasadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshamak Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sarvam Shri Chandi Mahalakshmi Arpanamastu Tathastu. Thank you so much. Namaskaram. See you in tomorrow's class. Dhanyavadaha.